The key to any great product is quality control, making sure that your product lives up to expectations so your customers have a great experience. Now, Herpa can of course not check every single model, but they do seem to be particularly bad at quality control. Why that might be, we'll take a look at right now. While Herpa has many issues, such as delayed models, terrible boxes, or rising prices, one of the most persisting is the complete lack of quality control. The 2021 model of the Cargolux 747F retro livery, which was supposed to be a ERF, but Herpa accidentally used the mold of a BCF, is almost legendary and perhaps the most absurd example of Herpa's complete lack of interest in their own products. Now, if this kind of occurrence had been a one-off, there wouldn't be much grounds for a video like this, but anyone who has been following Herpa these last couple of years and isn't a complete fanboy realizes that this unfortunately is far from the case. Far too often collectors experience the horror of completely disassembled models. So often, in fact, that the latest running gag, of course, is that Herpa's Scale 500 line in reality is part of Herpa's Snap-Fit line. But loose wings or missing landing gear is almost expected nowadays, so Herpa clearly needs to up their game to still wow their customers. So how about simply forgetting prints? Who really needs cockpit windows? Or cabin windows? But Herpa wouldn't be Herpa if they couldn't top that. What about forgetting the main feature of the livery? Look, we can rip into Herpa all day long, and sometimes it really does feel like they deserve it. But that is not the purpose of these videos, to get one over Herpa. No, what we want to achieve with these videos is to show Herpa where they're doing well, but definitely also shine a light on where they need to improve. What hurts many collectors is when Herpa's once exceptional quality so blatantly goes down the drain, while their products become less and less affordable. What needs to be questioned is Herpa's choice when it comes to their production partners in China. I frankly don't care where Herpa produces its models, be it in China, Germany or the moon. What I care about is the quality, and if the price reflects the value of the product, which it simply doesn't with Herpa. The reason I question Herpa's choice of production partners is the fact that pretty much all die-cast companies have outsourced their production to China, but none of them have the persisting and often absurd issues that Herpa is facing on a regular basis. Frankly, if they had a better factory, they might not experience as many issues. But there are other measures Herpa could take, which they so very clearly don't. I am of course talking about quality control. You see, the company they have hired to produce their models very clearly isn't up to the task. But that doesn't mean that every single model coming out of the factory needs to end straight in the bin. But if Herpa actually was checking the product before they ship it off to shops and customers, they could significantly reduce the amount of dots they constantly ship out. And I know this might sound harsh, but while Herpa very clearly does check the sample model before a new production batch is started, they so very clearly do not look at the finished products leaving the factory. How otherwise can you explain models like the German Air Force with yellow tinted wings, the TUI 737 MAX with stilts for landing gear, or the Qatar Oneworld with the completely misplaced print? These are just a few of the most blatant mistakes, and I haven't even mentioned the countless examples of wrong engines, misplaced set domes, lack of ground clearance, overbent winglets, smudged prints, and prints that haven't dried and therefore can be removed by simply holding the model in your own hands. The worst offense, however, isn't so much that Herpa doesn't do quality control on finished products, because every now and then the miracle happens and they do catch an issue in the production and even take the decision to delay the model. Now, as the very naive customer I am, I would of course think that in that case, Herpa is actually taking the time to fix the issue with their product and then release the model without the issue. But nope. Some might remember the Herpa model of a Eurowings A320-200 in the special Hertz livery. The model was, as many others, delayed, and while one reason for this delay was a licensing issue due to Hertz entering Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, the initial delay was due to a, at the time, unknown print issue. Again, as a Herpa customer, I would have expected Herpa to use the additional time to fix this print issue and to deliver an outstanding Herpa model to their customers. Clearly not. While it isn't one of Herpa's biggest no-nos, they still failed to fix the issue or simply decided against fixing it. In any case, the product was released, and instead of having a smooth transition in the yellow tones, it had a clearly visible line transitioning between the yellow tones. My point is that every diecaster will have issues with models. The question is just how many of these models will end up in the hands of your customers. And with Herpa, that number is clearly far too great. When a model is delayed because an issue during production was discovered, then that should be clearly communicated to customers. Most will understand and appreciate that you are taking the time needed to ensure that the product will live up to expectations. On a side note, yes, Herpa has on occasion had news regarding specific models in their newsletter, but only when a model was cancelled and by then had already been delayed for years. Then there is the Wings World magazine, which however is for club members only, and why you as a company would withhold critical product information from your customers, or in this case monetize product information, is beyond my understanding. What you cannot do, and Herpa unfortunately has done, is to release entire production batches with known issues or mistakes. That doesn't just destroy the reputation of the brand, but it undermines any trust collectors might have left for Herpa. This is the third chapter in a series where we want to go a bit deeper into what issues the Scale 500 community is facing, so do stay tuned for the upcoming chapters.